researchers, Israelis and also overseas. Daniel Bartal is one of them, Eran Halperin, and they are social psychologists, and they done a lot of research about beliefs, social beliefs, about collective emotional inclinations, worldviews, a lot of things that together create an infrastructure of destructive conflict, or destructive psychological infrastructure of destructive conflict. And I called it conflict mindset because it's easier to say.
Did you say the first one again? The psychological?
It's a social psychologist. Okay, social psychology. So they're looking at the things at the level of the society, between groups. But I'm saying that it also exists in every human being. And a lot of time when we get into conflict, this is what happens when we start the beginning of the conflict.
But you had a phrase that's hard to say, therefore you say conflict mindset. So the phrase that you, it was hard to say.
It's a social, psychological infrastructure of destructive conflict. And I'm adding in the word destructive because the other thing that I want to offer is an infrastructure of constructive handling of conflict. So the conflict itself is not a problem. The problem is how do we handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
תשתית פסיכולוגית חברתית של קונפליקט הרסני, או תשתית פסיכולוגית חברתית הרסנית של קונפליקט. הרסנית, destructive, constructive.
So it's versus productive or
constructive.
It would be like there's destructive conflict. There could be conflict that has another quality to it.
Yeah, but basically I'm saying that it's not, again, not me, it's from the conflict transformation. This is what I've studied in SIT, that conflict itself is not a problem. Conflict is helping us see. Conflict is painful. It can be very painful, but it's helping us to see that there's a problem in the system, in the relationship. And we need to take care of the problem. If we take care of the problem in a constructive way, the conflict will be
a teacher, the strengthening.
Resolved. It will be resolved, it will be transformed, and it will help us grow. Because it will help us make the relationship more healthy, more equitable. What Shoshana was talking about, repairing the past, repairing the hurt that was caused. So we want conflict. Conflict helps us in this way. But if we relate conflict in destructive ways, we create escalation, we create violence, we create hurt, and it becomes an...
But I have to say something because I feel that you can't get to this constructive...
We'll get to it in a moment. This infrastructure.
Constructive infrastructure. Well, you have to take... Where's its responsibility come into this?
We'll get to it in a moment. We'll get to it in a moment. So what I'm going to introduce now is the destructive infrastructure, the conflict mindset, destructive conflict mindset, okay? And I'm going to read a piece, a very short one, but maybe close your eyes, and as I will read it slowly and loudly, and see and feel what comes up, okay? Let's see. Okay. There we go. Our goals are justified and existential. Forever we wished for peace, but the other side instigated the conflict, and due to its violent and cruel character, which is intrinsic and unchangeable, it also continues to attack us. Since the other side understands only power, we must use all the military means at our disposal to protect ourselves and ensure our personal and collective security. The course of history continuously proves that the whole world is against us, and that we can trust no one but ourselves. The whole nation must therefore unite and recruit for the mission, in the name of our history and the national goals, and for the sacred memory of those who have sacrificed themselves. Each and every one of us must therefore do all they can to secure the peace we all yearn for as a nation. Okay? Sounds familiar?
Yes.
Yes.
This is where I struggle with language sometimes, that the word conflict has become so entrenched with certain meanings and aspects to it that it's at times, particularly when I'm thinking about her wanting to move towards a different kind of consciousness, it often feels like we need a different kind of language to go along with it, that frees up a different energy to move in a different kind of direction, that if we're using the same old words, the same language that's kind of helped us to create this mess, I feel like kind of beating our heads against the wall in some way. So how do we have a new conscious language that really reflects more what we're trying to create? And that's often a big challenge for me.
So let's see in a moment if there is a new language. We'll see in a moment. But what I want to say, I know that all of us here, it's not what we feel, it's not what we think. But I feel that it's important for us to know that when we meet people, often this is what they will have in their mind. Okay? And not necessarily knowing it. And in a way come with compassion to people that have this kind of thinking, because they didn't choose it. I always say that we are like fish. We grew in this sea of conflict. This is what we breathed from childhood. I'm saying that it's almost a miracle in Israel to think differently, or as a Palestinian to think differently, because this is what we heard in poems, in songs, in books, teachers. It's amazing to take lullabies and to read the words, and so many of them is about us and them. It's about dad is the hero that is protecting us because there is an enemy out there. Sorry.
The thing that just struck me about that there was everything that you read until the last sentence. It was a complete disconnect, because all of this, and we must secure the peace. It's like there was nothing there about that felt like it had anything to do with peace. And then the last sentence was, it somehow came out of nowhere. It's like, how can you have peace out of that mindset? Like, right? Did that strike you? It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, you can only have war out of that mindset.
Yeah. But this is interesting, because one of the social beliefs of the conflict mindset is that we want peace. Because what the conflict mindset does, it tells us three things in general. It tells us we are good, the other side is bad, and the conflict is unsolvable. This is the main things.
And it keeps you there.
And we are the victim. We are the only victims.
We're good, they're bad. Oh, sorry,
We are good, they are
We
bad,
are
they are
good.
intrinsically bad, etc.,
Yeah,
etc., etc.
yeah.
And we see it in the demonstrations.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what Judith said about othering.
Yeah.
Doing this so strongly. Okay? So, and the spiritual political for me is the political part of it is to acknowledge this reality, acknowledge that people feel this way. So if I want to work with people and do a transition, I have to acknowledge that, to see it where it exists. If it's not there, great, but if it's there, not to ignore it, and to do something that will help move from that. So I want to introduce now the reconciliation mindset. I don't have it as I used to have it as a text, but it has